everyone! Today I'm going to be covering why the East German uniforms looked similar to the ones used in the Wehrmacht in World War II. And if you don't know me already, my name is Amira and I specialize in Cold War history and especially the uniforms of the Cold War. We all know what the Germans were wearing in the Second World War, and the stigma is still very strong to this day. So why, after the Allied occupation of Germany after World War II, did the Soviet-occupied East Germans keep the appeal? Let's talk about it.
In my opinion, these are very different uniforms. They're just German, but let's talk about it anyways.
So the year is 1945. The Allies had won, and Nazi Germany was left with its leader dead in a bunker. The four largest Allied nations took it to Potsdam and talked it over the Potsdam Conference, which was basically them deciding which areas to split to one another. And this was left with four respective zones to each ally, and the East was given to the Soviet Union, which later became East Germany. The predecessor to the NVA, the Nationale Volksarmee, East Germany's military, was founded by the Soviet military administration in Germany after the conference. It went under numerous name changes until it finally landed on the KVP, which translated to the Barracked People's Police. It was more of a militarized police force than it was actually a military, and they wore uniforms very similar to the ones used by the Soviet Red Army, as pictured here. The Soviets quickly realized that this would not end up good in the long run for them, as it would cause further unrest in the civilian population to keep seeing their own military, as full of foreign occupiers. This was already prevalent in 1953 when, the uprising happened and everyone was pissed at the Russians. They didn't want to keep that push. On top of this, the Soviets wanted to make East Germany have its own independent flair from the rest of the Warsaw Pact. And on top of that, the Soviets wanted to embolden their claim that East Germany was the true successor state of Germany. The KVP, while it was switching to the Nationale Volksarmee, goodness gracious, I can't speak German, they turned to the traditional German optic, which you can see here. This uniform is actually from the late 1980s. This one right here, 1968. This is when they actually still produced uniforms with this nice, pretty dark collar, and they had more wool into their uniforms. Honestly, these looked so cool. I'm so happy I found one. This is a Panzercrew one. You can tell because it's pink. Now, on the other side of the Iron Curtain stood the Bundesgrenzschutz, which was the West German border troops. The Bundesgrenzschutz wore the Nazi M44 Stahlhelm, which most of them were leftover stock from the war. So you just saw a bunch of border troops literally look like Nazi soldiers in the Bundesgrenzschutz in West Germany. I just thought that was an interesting fact. I'm not really sure what that has to do with this video, but I just had to tell you guys. But anyway, on the topic of helmets, KVP wore the usual, the standard issue Soviet helmet until they kind of occasionally switched to using M54 helmets like these. And that was until they switched to the NVA, which then they put into rotation the absolutely dreaded by not necessarily just me, I think everyone who knows what the M56 is kind of hates it.
I cannot possibly put into enough words to make y'all fathom just how much I absolutely despise these helmets. They are so ugly. They are the worst thing I've ever laid my eyes upon in my entire life. And if I had a time machine, I would go back and I would just prevent this from ever being invented. I swear to God, I hate it.
At the end of the day, East Germany never really went for the Wehrmacht-specific appeal. Why is that, you might be asking? Well, first of all, the Wehrmacht uniforms were not really specific to World War II. What I mean by that is the whole gray thing and the whole just specific design. Even the shoulder boards were prevalent in Germany's interwar period, which was
the Weimar Republic.
And this is actually a really similar picture to what I'm wearing. It looks literally just about the same. The only thing really differentiating from these three eras is the insignia and cut of the uniforms, along with the fabric they were made in and the overall optic. Because as you can tell, this one has a bit of communist appeal to it, right? Because you can see the emblem is pretty commie.
So two things about these hats actually. In World War II, they had the same kind of wreath with the red in the center kind of insignia going on. And what the East Germans did was put their insignia on top of that. This was also not exclusive to World War II, because here is Mr. von Schleicher again, wearing the hat with the same insignia as the World War II and the East German ones. So
then we have the general cut of the uniform. Let me stand up. Got the white piping over here as well in the pants. These are straight-legged trousers. It was, at the end of the day, a competition between the East and the West to see who could win the true German successor crown. Thank you all for watching.